Well, that last video on this platform didn't do too bad at all, did it? Seems a lot of you are interested in this double eagle Noveske N4. With good reason, it's very, very cheap. And we're going to look at some compatibility today. There are going to be a lot of videos that I'm going to do on this just because my email was flooded with, can you look at this, can you look at that? But I've got a load of parts on the bench, so I've obviously got the standard mag. We've got the Marui standard MWS magazine. I've got a Guns Modify P mag here. I do have a drum mag, but it's currently with Mr. Mustang because he was using my M733 in Belgium. So he's got the drum mag, so I can't test that. But I presume if these work, the drum mag will probably work. So I've got some charging handles. Now the green one is actually a bog standard MWS charging handle. It was just Cerakoted originally in green to match a build. MTR16 charging handle. I can't remember what brand this Geisy one is. It's going to be like CNC Tac or one of the other brands. I'm not really too sure. It's quite surprising actually because I'm pretty sure I remember having one with trades on it. But anyway, Geisy style one there. And then we've got a couple of PTS ones, black and tan, just because as I pulled the bolts out of the guns, the charging handles came with them. So I'm going to say these three will work fine, and the Marui ones are going to be a little bit iffy just because of the catch is a little bit further to the rear on the two Marui ones, where the aftermarkets, they have a bit more of a gap. So we've got that. We've got the standard bolt in here. We also have a bog standard Marui MWS bolt carrier group. We have a Guns Modify Evo. Still think this is the best you can get for your money. They're really not expensive at all, and it comes complete. So that's their Evo. And then we also have the Guns Modify sort of uprated stainless. I think it's meant to be stainless bolt, which we did a full review on this. It turned out that this wasn't actually too dissimilar in weight to the other two, so it's not a massive load there. We did have to put a Guns Modify nozzle in it, which you'll see the GM on the nozzle there, just to prove it to you guys, GM V3, just because this bolt wouldn't take the Marui nozzle, so that is why we did that. So if you want to watch the full video on that and the comparison, it's a really lengthy, boring video, but there's loads of testing there with FPS and this, that, and the other, so we're going to take a look. So we already know from the previous video that my easy loader for the normal MWS magazine does work on this, so that's something we don't need to test, that's already there. The GM PMag one didn't fit, so just make sure if you're using the double eagle mags, use this one. Standard MWS mags, use the white one. Guns Modify only, use the blue one, and then the red ones for the AKM magazines. So let's get into popping this top receiver off and having a quick gander. So this video that I last did on this platform seemed to do very, very well. What I will say, which a lot of other people commented as well, is about the bolt carrier group gap at the front here. And looking at the other bolt carrier groups, I think it's just a little bit shorter, but we'll put them in and we'll see if that sort of solves that. You can see now how very similar this is to the Geisy style, just has the Noveske markings on there, and that is very heavy compared to this. And I have come prepared this time because I've got the old scales with me, just because of those that like to know the different weights on things. So the standard DE Noveske charging handle, in fact let's stand it up on its end like that if we can, comes in at 102 grams, very heavy. You can't really tell that on camera, but just picking this thing up, it's the material that they've used is very heavy. Now this is one of the aftermarket ones, I can't remember the brand, I think it's CNC Tac, but let's just zero that. And so 102 was it, and that's 36, so 36, we'll just double test that one. And 101, so 101 grams, 36, so it's a third of the weight. MTR 16, this probably isn't going to stand up. 85, and the standard MWS charging handle, it's about 66, I think, 67 grams. The PTS ones, they do have plastic rear sections, which isn't a problem. Those come in at 36, so no problem at all. The bolt carrier group, as it comes out of the gun, now the rear bolt weight is loose. The screw, as you'll see there, you can see the cap head where the Allen key goes in is slightly off center on that screw, so it's obviously a cheap screw. Just nipping that down has solved that, so it's just a little bit loose. You can Loctite that in if you want to. There's obviously going to be some differences here as to, you know, the fixings and stuff that they use. You'll see, you know, are a little bit cheaper, but and maybe the plastics. But if it works, it works. So standard bolt carrier group. You'll see how much the nozzle sticks out. This one does look shorter and it's a bit more rounded. So I'll just put that on camera for you. You'll see how it sits a little bit back. Make sure that's straight compared to the Marui one. So double eagle bolt comes in at a whopping 216 grams. The standard Marui bolt comes in at 219, so it's very close. Guns Modify Evo 211, and this stainless bolt 221. So it's you know, about the same as a Marui one. A couple of grams here or there, it never hurts anybody. But the first thing I want to know, let's put the issue I did say about when I was when the gun's empty and the bolt locks back, that this comes back, and I couldn't replicate it on camera, but since just messing around with this gun, because I've been playing around with it a lot, it is still happening. So I think it's just not quite a good enough 90 degree on that charge handle. Double E, if you're listening, that QC just needs to be tightened up just a little bit. So it would be nice if this was made out of a bit of a lighter material, because it's very heavy, and it's probably the reason, this being heavier, as to why it's coming loose as well. So, but let's get this standard charging handle put back in there. So this one obviously latches, but it does come loose when the bolt stops. We've got a standard MWS one. It goes in, but it can't quite go in far enough to latch, and it's literally a mil, maybe 2 mil, too short just to grab onto that section there. The MTR 16 one, I think we already tried this, very much the same, just doesn't quite latch onto there. However, aftermarket Geisley clips in just fine, and the hold on that is a lot better. So I think what I'll probably do is end up getting another one of these, and if I can get it blank, I can put the matching markings as to what this has on there. But yeah, I think the black would suit it better as well to the bronze, with the tan and the black sort of combo. PTS Radian Raptor charging handles. Again, this one has a bit of play in it. Let's go back to that one. This one is perfect. So the PTS ones will work as well. Got much more of a strong clasp on the receiver. There's probably a mil or two play extra compared to this one. I just can't remember where I had this from. I'll have to have a look, see if I can find out. But I'm pretty sure it's like a CNC tack one. But that seems to fit the best so far. This is out of my Geisley DMR build. So what we'll do, let's pop this back in there. Oh, I need to pull that one out first. In fact, you know, to be honest with you, I kind of like the Radiant Arms ones in there. It almost perfectly matches the colour. Standard charge handle back in. So we know that what that bolt does. Let's put a Marui bolt in and see if this all goes together, which it does. There is still a bit of a gap there. I will put this in one of my Maruis just to show, but the gap isn't quite as prominent as it was before. It might be sort of highlighted even more because the bolt is silver, but yeah, the Marui bolt goes in just fine. We'll be testing that these work shortly. Guns Modify Evo. Again, I think this is going to be absolutely fine. This one sticks out a little bit more, so that might be an issue. Let's just test the Marui one again. yeah, that one disappears into the receiver. Let's just check where the standard one comes to, if it wants to remain open. So standard one comes just below the receiver there, and then finally this stainless bolt. I'd say the stainless bolt was probably the closest to the original in terms of length, with it sitting in the receiver. Marui one's fine as well. Just the Guns Modified Evo bolt. Oh, it has gone in that time. So I don't know why it was sort of stuck out there last time, but now it's gone in just fine. So, crisis averted. So we know the standard one, the standard bolt works. It's going to get annoying because of how heavy it is. I'm going to put the CNC tack one in there. We'll put the standard Marui MWS bolt back in. Close the gun down. Let's do a couple of fitment checks. So the receiver closes. Seems to function fine. There's a lot more grab on that on this charging handle. Bolt catches, drops forward. Let's just do a quick function check. Standard DE mag. It does lock on the mag. Let's drop that forward. Standard Marui bolt carrier group seems to work just fine. So let's just quickly knock this out of the park. I'm going to switch this. Let's go to the PTS Radian. Guns Modify Evo bolt. I'm going to try now. Do like this bolt. It's that bolt that I purchased, and it literally, whenever I take my MWSs out, this bolt just sits in my gear, just waiting to be used. Just in case I have a broken nozzle spring, anything like that. It isn't going to take my game day away. I just run this in my kit, in my gun bag, and then if I have a problem, I can just come and switch it out if need be. Standard mag. So locks back. The Radian handle does seem to release from the upper a little bit easier compared to the CNC tack one. I'm just going to refer to it as that because that's what I think it is. Just run out a bit of gas. Let's pop a bit more in there. And for this test, I mean, I only use propane in my gas blowback rifles. So let's just pop a little squeeze more in the mag. Pop it back in there. So, yep, Guns Modify Evo bolt works just fine. Obviously, we're going to have to test chrono results on these eventually as well. I'll try and keep this video as short as I possibly can. I'm sure there's going to be many questions that I don't answer, which people are going to get angry at me for. I really do like this bolt, and to be honest with you, that bolt probably sits the best in this receiver compared to the rest of them. The forward assist does work, so let's give this one a go. I really do like this bolt. Here we go. Drop the bolt, works fine. And the bolt works absolutely fine. So what we're going to do while this is in, we've got a standard MWS magazine. Definitely seems more punchier than the DE mag. Works just fine. Guns Modify P mag. This one might not hold gas. And I always find that my Guns Modify P mags are more punchy than my standard MWS magazine. So we're just going to go in reverse here now. So, come on. Out you come. So, stainless bolt. I'm going to go back to the original handle. Let's go in reverse. So we've got the Evo bolt. Pop that back in. Standard MWS magazine. Absolutely fine. Guns Modify P mag. And we're going to be out of gas, so let's try and put a squeeze more in that one. It is leaking, but not by mounds. Fine, let's do a quick burst. Yep, absolutely fine. Coming down, back down the list, we've got the standard Marui bolt, straight out my Mark 18 build. We tested it with a DE mag, MWS magazine, MWS bolt. Fine. Guns modify P-mag. Absolutely fine. This thing just absolutely rocks. I've never been more excited about a gun that I've bought that's cheaper than what I usually spend, because don't get me wrong, guys. Again, I say this in a lot of videos, I'm not flexing on you or anything like that, but I predominantly buy MWSs. All my MWSs are upwards of £1,000-2,000 that I've spent on them. I buy good stuff. I buy real steel stuff when I can. So you guys know that I like to spend the money on my replicas. I like to have them right. But this, honestly, I'm more excited about this at the moment. So back to the original bolt. MWS magazine. All those out there saying they don't work, they do. Guns Modify P-mag. Absolutely fine. I just, honestly, to this point, I just can't fault it. So those are predominantly the main questions I had in terms of magazine compatibility and bolt compatibility. As I say with all my videos, there are so many variables at play: gas, temperature, humidity, different magazines. The MWS magazine is modified. You know, people say you shouldn't chop these valves down because all it will do is spit gas. I mean, you just watch me put full auto, God knows how many times, and it's cold as anything. Just do it, it works fine. You know, different valves in the bolts, different manufacturers of bolts. There's so many variables here at play, so don't get, you know, so nailed down by it's got to have this FPS and it's got to have this rate of fire, this, that and the other. The gun at the moment, I would be running it bog standard like this. Would I put a nice bolt in there? Yes, probably. I'll be carrying these on me at all times. So if I do have a problem, I can just put a Guns Modify one in there. You know, I wouldn't put an MWS one in there. I don't really see the point. If you've got an MWS, you've got an MWS bolt. You can't really buy the complete MWS bolts off the shelf like this. It's just not. I mean, Marui, come on. This should be a spare part as much as any of your other accessories to your customers. It's just a no-brainer. It needs to be done. But I haven't ever seen anywhere online where you can just go online, buy a complete MWS bolt like this and just be happy. They really, you know, it just seems like common sense to me, but, you know, neither here or there. So you're not going to be putting MWS bolt in because they're just expensive to sort all the, you know, maybe source all the different spares. You're not going to pull an MWS apart for the bolt to put it in a cheaper gun. It just doesn't make any sense. So you're probably going to run this gun as it is, which is the way I'm going to do it. I might put some different external accessories on there, like a different grip and stuff, but that's preference. You know, I like the MOE K2 Plus grips, so, you know, if I can get a TAM one, I might put one on there. This grip isn't bad. It's very comfortable, to be honest. It's pretty much, you know, a K2 ripoff with sort of like PTS style styling on there. So I'm going to run it as it is. If I have a problem with the bolt, what am I going to do? I'm just going to slap this in it if I'm on a game day, just to get me through the game day. Things that I probably will change, which we'll look into in the next video, is hop and barrel. I do it on all my guns. I don't want to take the chance of having an unknown variable when playing. This gun, I'm told from many people out there that have them and they've got in touch, it runs fine anyway. It's, you know, it's not an MWS, but it's half the price of an MWS. And, you know, to have an MWS in this Noveske N4 kit, which a few people didn't listen to the video, you're spending upwards of like £1,200–1,400 just to get the base gun. That's going to, you know, need different bits and pieces as well anyway. So it is a cheap gun. That being said, if I'm going to run it, which I am, maybe I'll go to a game and I take my MWSs and I take a buddy of mine and I just take this and they can run around with a gas blowout for the day. I'm not really too concerned about them breaking this compared to a £1,000–2,500 Marui custom build. You know, it's a lot more palatable than breaking this, even though obviously I don't want to break it. It's very nice. But, you know, I'll be doing barrel and hop stuff. The only thing that I'll change in the bolt carrier group is the nozzle, the valve. If it does run hot, I do have my own MWS valve, downgrade valves, kind of in the works. I'm just testing them. I've sent them out to quite a few people, test them as well, before obviously I launch it, but I'll probably shove one of them in there if it's a bit hot. I am told there is like a pistol length barrel in here, which I want to get rid of, and I'll probably extend it to the end of the barrel. Put a nice rubber on it like a flamingo. I'm not really too sure on the hop unit yet. We'll take a look at that in the next video. But this is the mag and bolt compatibility test for the DE EMG Noveske N4. This thing is absolutely astonishing for the money. If you're on the fence about it, I wouldn't hesitate, because all the shops are going out of stock. I've noticed a few shops like High Pressure and everyone dropping their prices from £600 all the way down to £350, so they are matching what everyone else is doing. If you're thinking about getting one, get on it now. By the time this does the rounds, YouTube and in the community page and whatnot, and people realise how good it is, it's going to disappear off the shelves. You know, so I'm pre-warning you. If where I had this from, because I did have this through, you know, trade means, I did go on there to check, see if they had any more in stock. They didn't, because I was literally going to buy another one, like a black one, just to have it as a spare. Neither here or there. So thanks for doing this lengthy video. I mean, if there's anything else you want me to test, let me know. But in the next video, we're going to take a look inside this thing. And then in a consecutive video, we're putting a look inside the mag, and I'll show you what's going on in there. So as always, from me and Bench, we'll see you in the next one.